There are a few hot new products that just launched at Sephora that I have been seeing everywhere. And before you buy these products, today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on them. So I've got the new Makeup by Mario bronzer, every single shade of the new Kosas blushes, plus a few other products. And my vision today is that I want to go really in depth on these, not just like a quick try on, like I want to swatch all of these blushes, compare these products to other things in my collection, other things they might be similar to, give you all the information before you buy them. So let's just jump in. I want to start off with the new Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Dew Balm. This is their SPF 45 balm. It is supposed to be a solid version of the dewdrops with SPF in them, which intrigued me because when they tried to make an SPF version of the dewdrops a few years ago, it was horrible. I believe it has since been discontinued. I was never able to get that product to work. It would pill so badly on me. This I've actually really been liking. So I'm thinking for today, I'm going to be applying things, removing them, applying things, removing them. So with this combo in particular, we'll do half and half. I want to do the new one on this side of my face, but I want to do the Dewdrop original formula on this side of my face so we can see if the dew is actually comparable between the two products. So obviously the original Dewdrops here do not have any SPF protection. So it's definitely not a one-for-one comparison because you couldn't just wear this on its own the way you could with the new stick. But I know for so many people, this is a holy grail product. So I want to have a side-by-side comparison of how they both look. Like, does the balm, the stick product, actually look identical to this? We're going to find out. Now, I've used this stick a few times and I feel like this side is going to be dewier. I just feel like it has a little bit more glow and hydration, but I do think the stick is still pretty dewy. So this is with the dewdrops. This is with just nothing. And we'll go in with the stick now. The thing about a sunscreen stick, you kind of need to do a few layers. Like just doing that probably is not going to be getting you the sun protection you want. So you're going to have to go over it a few times. So we're going to kind of build up a few layers of this. I will say it is just like so nice and easy to apply. Like something about the stick makes it pretty effortless. Okay, there it is. We'll blend it out a little bit. I am so dry right now, so my face is a little bit peely, and I'm getting, this is disgusting, but I'm getting little like pieces of my skin coming off with this, which I did not notice on this side. So something to make note of if you have very dry skin to the point that you experience peeling. I do feel like I'm definitely peeling right now. And I can't say that's the fault of the product. It's probably just the physical action of rubbing it on my skin. But anyways, here we go. We've got the side by side. I think that the dewdrops look considerably dewier. I actually think this side has more of a smoothed out glow. I would say the product has almost a silicone type feel to it when it's on the skin. I think it's reminiscent of something like the Unseen sunscreen from Supergoop. Like this side feels sticky. This side feels slippy. This side is definitely more of that sticky, grippy texture. All right, I washed everything off and put on just a moisturizer. So now we can go in with the new Fenty Soft Lit Foundation. I have used this probably 3 times, but today I want to do some comparison. So we're going to do more side by side. I want to do a comparison of this versus their original foundation that has more of a mattified finish. But what I'm even more intrigued to see it compared to is the Eavesdrop, because I think it's so similar to Eavesdrop that I'm like, we have to put them side by side. What's the difference really, okay? But let's start off, we'll do this, I'll wash it off, we'll do this. Like I said, I'm gonna be washing my face a million times in this video, but we're gonna start off with the new Soft Lit on this side of my face. I have mine in the shade 150, which I would say is a pretty good shade match for me. I could maybe go a teeny tiny bit lighter than this, but it's pretty spot on. I have really been enjoying this foundation. I find that it wears really well. I find actually that most Fenty foundations wear very well. The longevity is always there with Fenty products. I feel like if I'm gonna have a long day and I wanna make sure my foundation is gonna be there by the end of the day, I'm normally reaching for one of my Fenty products. So here we go. This is one light layer. This is definitely a buildable product. We could get more coverage out of it, but for the sake of comparison, I want to do like a similar sheer layer on both sides. So this is one layer with the newer Soft Lit foundation. We've got the with, we've got the without. You can see nice level of coverage, nice level of dew also. Okay, now the original. First thing, these have different packaging. I thought they were like identical, but the original is circular and the new one is like a hexagon. So minor difference between the two, but this one I have in the shade 170, which is not my best shade match. As it sits on the skin, it starts to really oxidize. So already I would say texture-wise, this is thicker in like consistency than the new one. I'm gonna use a different side of the sponge now so we don't like cross-contaminate, but I tried to do an even amount on both sides. So I tried to do just like a little pump on the tip of my finger for both so that we could keep it pretty consistent. And you can already see like the way this blends out is already very different. Like it is way more matte on the skin than the new one. This, I would say, even is a little bit harder to blend out than the new one just because the consistency is a little bit thicker and it's more matte in texture. So it's not gonna like blend itself. Like this side you saw was like seconds. So we did a few taps and it was blended out. Whereas this side I don't think is hard to blend, but I would say you'd wanna move quickly. And if anything, I'm probably not moving quick enough right now because I'm talking and I'm like, wait, go faster, it's gonna dry. Now I'm already seeing a pretty big difference in coverage level, even with doing that light amount of product on both sides. Like this looks pretty perfected even with such a small amount of product, whereas this side you can still see I have like an acne scar right here very vividly poking through. You can see some of my freckles. You can see just like the skin doesn't look as evened out. I don't mind that. It's not a bad thing, but I just want to point out the different levels in coverage here. On my dry skin, the Soft Lit is definitely sitting way better than the other one. The original formula is kind of clinging to some dryness around my nose and under my eyes. I don't think the original looks bad, but I think the new one is definitely better for my skin type and my preferences. Okay, now I'm going to go wash it off again so we can do the Ease Drop on the other side. Okay, same base as before. I'm just using a little bit of the Inky List moisturizer that I love so much. Not doing sunscreen because I'm going to keep washing this off my face. Okay, reapplying the Soft Lit to this side of my face. And now we'll go in with a little bit of Ease Drop. This has been one of my favorite foundations for a long time now. I have mine in the shade 3. And I would say, I think these are going to be pretty similar shade matches. Like if you wear 3, 150 is probably a good match. If I didn't say this before, washed it in between and now I'm using the other side of the sponge. I was really excited to do this comparison because in my eyes, I'm like, they're so similar. Like this versus the new one. I would say the consistency is a bit different. This one is a bit more watery, but even the way they're looking on my skin right now, I'm not seeing much of a difference. I do think the Soft Lit has slightly more coverage than Ease Drop. Let me know if you're seeing that. I think that the Ease Drop looks more like my skin, whereas the Soft Lit, if I really, and I'm getting very picky here, but if I like really get up close, I can see that there is product on my skin, whereas that's one thing I really love about Ease Drop is you don't really see much, you don't see it. It just looks like your skin. I also think Soft Lit is looking slightly more radiant. Ease Drop is more of like a satiny matte version of a skin tint. So I think they're very similar. Small differences between them though. Like let me know what you're seeing. Are you seeing what I'm seeing or am I overthinking this? Okay, now very excited to try out the new Makeup by Mario bronzer. If you watched my purchaser pass, you know I was actually more interested in the Say liquid bronzer. But I don't know. I was like, I have to know. So I picked this one up at Sephora. I picked up the shade Fair. And what's interesting about this product is that the packaging offers 2 methods to get the product out. So you have your standard pump, but if you open it up, you can also remove the product by doe foot. So you could really view this product as pretty adaptable. You could use it in a lot of different ways, whether that's as a base or just as a liquid bronzer. The first thing I want to see is the swatch because this, oh yeah, it looks way darker in the tube here, but here's the swatch on my skin. It's very fair. I was excited about this when I saw the swatches and I saw the shade Fair actually looked very, very light. This might even be too light for me. If you have fair skin and you find that bronzers are always too dark. This could be a good shade. Now, I did grab my Glossier liquid bronzer to compare because this is also a wonderful shade on fair skin. This is the shade Sail. Okay, wait, they're actually almost identical in color. So this is Sail and this is Makeup by Mario Fair. I would say the shade is almost the same, but the Makeup by Mario one is way more sheer, whereas the Glossier one has a bit more pigment to it, so it's almost presenting like it's darker, but I would say they're actually almost the same shade, but this is just has a little bit more sheerness to it. I also think that the Glossier one has slightly more warmth to it, and I don't view this as being warm, but by contrast, it's a little warmer than the Makeup by Mario. So my go-to method for applying a liquid product is normally to put it on the back of my hand, but I've seen Makeup by Mario applying it directly with the doe foot, which I don't tend to like, but I do want to see how this is going to work if we apply it directly to the skin. You know, is it going to potentially disrupt the foundation? Is it going to move things around? Is it going to completely disappear? Because I don't know if I see anything. Like I said, this shade might almost be too light for me. I think if it wasn't as sheer, this shade might be nice for me, but no, it's working. Maybe I just need to build it up a bit. I'm used to a lot of liquid products being so high pigment that you have to build slowly, but this I would say is pretty adaptable, pretty sheared out, and consequently like very user-friendly. But I don't think I look like so bronzy. What do you think? You know, we've got the side with and the side without. Okay, I washed off my face so we can do this again because I want to apply it underneath foundation to see if we can get the like bronzing drop type of look, because I know they market it as offering that as well. And I'm almost wondering if the sheerness of the formula might be even more conducive to that application over trying to use it more so for sculpting and bronzing. Because my initial thoughts right away, and very much first impression, obviously I will get back to you, but like if we're talking hot new liquid bronzers, like I like this one more. I felt like this very thin, very sheer. I just don't know that it's offering as much color payoff as I was expecting. I think this is better and it's significantly cheaper. Though I will say like cost per ounce, not necessarily, because this is pretty expensive up front. It's $36, but you're getting a ton of product. It is 1.01 fluid ounces, whereas this is only $22, but it's also only 0.33 fluid ounces. But let's try this as a serum. So, okay, we pumped a little bit out. I think it's such an interesting component where you have the doe foot and you have the pump. They're definitely not the first brand to do this. I remember like the Pure foundation that launched years ago has that, but I do think it's interesting. Okay, is this gonna be too much? I don't know, we'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out with my fingers. It's blending out very easily. Like I said, it's very thin. It's like a almost foundation-y type of consistency, but like think a very jelly, not jelly, but like a skin tint, you know? Okay, I look tanned and bronzed. Definitely is giving similar vibes to like any of the bronzing drops, but I would actually say this, because it is so low coverage, I almost think it looks better, because some of the bronzing drops I just find I have a hard time blending out and they look a bit patchy. I think this gave me pretty even coverage all over the skin, you know? It looks like I have a little bit of a tan. So if that is the use you plan to reach for this product for, you might like it more. I think right away, first impression, trying it both ways, it seems like this would be a better this would be a better use than as a bronzer. That's at least what I'm thinking now. But let me apply foundation for the, what is this? The fourth time? No, not fourth. Is it? It feels like the 100th time. Let's put some more foundation on. If my skin wasn't already dry and struggling and going through it before starting this video, it will be after. But I also, I wanted to apply foundation over top of that because I want to see how it's gonna work together with the foundation. So once again, this is the Soft Lit. I just find Soft Lit to be such an easy, effortless blend for a foundation. Like it just practically blends itself, and I think it looks really, really beautiful. So I can't necessarily say I see the bronzer peeking through too much. Do you? Let me know if you do. I feel like it might be a product you use if you feel like your face is a little bit lighter than your body and you need to match the tone before going in with other products, or maybe something you want to just wear on its own, but I don't know if I see it peeking through too much. Let me know if you do though. Okay, I'm quickly powdering with a little bit of my Kosas powder before we go in with the Kosas bronzers. No, the blushes. These are, this is what I was the most excited about today. I feel like I've just been waiting to really get into these. I have been itching to try them. So we'll just set that down a little bit so the blush has a nice smooth surface, nothing like too dewy. But these are the new Kosas blushes. They retail for $28. They come in 8 shades, and I want to put all 8 on my face. What's a few more times of washing foundation off, you know? I normally don't swatch like every shade in a collection if I get something in PR because I like to be able to easily pass it on to someone if, the ones that I'm not going to keep. But I feel like for this collection, it would be helpful because even when I was looking at the swatches and seeing them on all the different models on Sephora, I felt like I could not really tell what was what. Like, they didn't look so different, and I was like, I don't even know what shade I would want to buy. So let me know if in the future you want me to swatch like every shade. If this is helpful, I can definitely start incorporating that. But this is the one I think I'm going to like the most. This is the shade Dreamland. Oh, ooh. Okay, texture-wise, definitely feels like your standard baked blush. Okay, there's Dreamland. Wait, a really pretty nude. Starting off with Dreamland, I'm going to use the Sigma Soft Sculpt brush and then clean it off with my Sigma Switch in between. But here we go. I'm going to just start tapping this onto my cheek. This is definitely more of like a nude light shade compared to some of the others, or a light nude shade compared to some of the others. I will go ahead and build these up a little bit too so we can really see the color on the skin. Okay, wait, that's actually very pretty. I don't know that I would necessarily wear this much at once. Maybe, but I wanted us to really see what the shade is looking like. It has a good amount of glow to it, actually more than I was expecting. I'm kind of thinking this glow is similar actually to the Rare Beauty blushes, like more glowy than I was expecting. And I will do swatch comparisons. We'll get into all that, but starting here, okay, that was Dreamland. Sigma Switch, we'll get the product off the brush as best as we can. Okay, what's next? I'm literally just grabbing behind me. This is the shade Euphoria. This one appears to be a little bit more of a pink. They describe it as a cool pinky mauve. And for reference, Dreamland, they describe as a rosy bronze. Okay, so here is Euphoria. This looks like it might be a little deep for my skin tone, but let's see. Go ahead and swatch this one as well. Oh, definitely more pinky. I'm definitely seeing some almost like berry purple in there. My application is not great, I feel like, but again, I'm thinking of these less as like a standard blush application, more as literal swatches that happen to be on my face because I want you to see the color. Yeah, this one definitely has more of that, it's almost purple. I think this would be really pretty on a medium skin tone. I don't know if this shade is perfect for me. Maybe with a lighter hand it could be, but this one appears less glowy than this one, don't you think? I feel like I'm seeing a good amount of sheen here. This side looks like a softer glow. This is giving me more vibes of like an Hourglass ambient lighting powder. This is the shade Hype. They call this a warm poppy pink. I feel like a lot of people will be excited about this. This feels like the popular bright pink shade that's been so big these last couple of years. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is bright pink. So this one, I think we'll do this on my forehead. This way we can do 4 swatches per face and then I'll wash off my foundation. So, oh, this one has a lot of kick up. These all are seeming a little bit different than the others. That had a lot of kick up. There's a ton sitting on the brush. Okay. Wait, let me tap that off. Okay, here we go. This, again, is the shade Hype. I was worried it was going to be so much pink, but I actually don't think, it's actually looking really similar to this one. Okay, we're going to get a little weird, but this is Euphoria over here, and this is Hype over here. I feel like they're looking similar. You can definitely see more of an orangey base to here, whereas this is more purpley cool tone, but they're presenting as these really bright pinks, even though I would say the undertone is slightly different, but these, even in the pan, look somewhat similar, but again, this is just has more berry to it. Now I'm like, should I try to get all the swatches on my face at once? That seems a little weird, but I feel like if anything, we can see how the colors match. I don't know if I'll have room though. We'll see. We'll just see what happens. But this shade is called Blissed. They call it a warm peachy pink. This actually also sounds like it would be something right up my alley. You know I love like a soft peach tone. And this, okay, that's very pretty. I wonder, okay, so this is Dreamland, which is the one I have right here. This is Blissed, the one we're about to swatch. I thought based on the description they might be similar, but I really don't think they are. This is more nude, definitely a brighter pink. Okay, we'll do this one over here. Again, a good amount of kick up from this one as well. So this is Blissed. I feel like this might be a me kind of shade. I don't know if it's showing up so prominently, but I also feel like this has more glow. It's interesting. They don't all seem to have a consistent level of glow to them. Like this one looks a little more diffused, whereas this one looks a little bit more like it has some highlightery qualities to it. That was a weird description, but I hope you know what I mean. Looking very glowy. And again, these two look so similar. I'm like, I don't know if I really am seeing the difference. And that's why I was like, I want to swatch them all together because this is what I was running into in the swatches. I'm like, they all look kind of similar. So this is Hype and this is Blissed. In the pan, they look so different, but like on my skin, I think they're looking very similar. Okay, we're running out of room on my face, but we're gonna keep going. This is Thrill. I don't think this is gonna be the best for my skin tone because it looks really bright. They call it a vibrant blood orange. Yeah, okay, very saturated. We'll see. Cleaning off the brush, at least as best as we can. And now we're gonna take Thrill. I'm gonna do this kind of along my jawline, I think. Oh, yeah, see, very pigmented. Way more pigmented than any of the others. Like, look at that. Like, these all have some sheerness. This is very punchy. Okay, yeah, like very like red orange. It's pretty. It's not for me, but it's very pretty. This is the shade Swoon. They call it a pinky brown mauve. Ooh, it's pretty. It's really pretty. Okay, so this is Swoon, and then this is one we just applied. I've been here so long, my camera stopped recording, but I had just started applying this one to my jawline. And this one is definitely more sheer as well. I mean, sheer. I just don't think it's as punchy as this one was. Like, this has so much pigment compared to all the others. This one, still pretty, but it has some sheerness to it. Okay, we have two more, and I'm like, do I wash it off or do I go here and here? I really feel like this is the weirdest thing I've ever done, but I hope it's helpful seeing the shades next to one another on skin versus just like swatches, because swatches are nice and helpful too to like really see the color and the differences, but sometimes things just translate so differently when they're blended out versus what a swatch looks like. So let me know if you're like, Kelly, never do this again, or if it's helpful. But this is the shade Adrenaline. They call it a hot fuchsia. Okay, here it is in the pan. I'm already curious to see how this compares to Thrill, because in the pan they look pretty similar, but I would say Adrenaline has more red, whereas Thrill is a little bit more orange. Again, I don't think this shade is quite my shade. Yeah, you can see. But yeah, okay. I wanted this to sit next to this so you can kind of see right next to one another. This is very pigmented, both of these two. Especially like you can see against all the others. I applied the same amount of blush for all of these, but these definitely much punchier. Okay, now we have Butterflies, which is like one of these bright baby pink shades. So let's go ahead, pick up again, same amount on the brush, and we're gonna do my nose. After this, I'm gonna be like fully pink and red, but here it is on my nose. Okay, I would say this one, not quite as pigmented as these two, but it seems to have more color payoff than a lot of the other ones on my face. Okay, I know I literally look like a clown, but here are all the face swatches. Let me wash this off so we can go through comparisons to other baked blushes. But first thoughts on this compared to other blush formulas, especially other similar baked ones that I really want to like get into. I think that as you kind of saw on camera, these don't all seem to have a super consistent finish to them. So some appeared to have a bit more like sparkle and sheen and more of a highlighter quality, and some sat a little bit more like an Hourglass ambient lighting blush. You know what I mean? Where it has a glow, but it's more diffused. I would say in general, if I was going to compare it to other similar blushes at Sephora, it's really in between these two. I don't think they're as glowy as the Rare Beauty blushes. These are like straight up highlighters, but I don't know if they're quite as diffused as the Hourglass ones, but we're gonna do some swatches. I also have some drugstore ones. I wish you could see me right now. I have like 50 million blushes on my lap. I'm like trying to look and see which ones are similar, but in terms of Rare Beauty, I think this is maybe the closest I'll find. The Rare Beauty one that I have is in Sheer, and I think it's probably closest to Blissed, but this comparison for me is less about actual shade comparisons. It's more about color and finish. Or not color, what am I saying? It's not about color, it's about finish. So this is Rare Beauty Cheer, and like you can see, this is basically a highlighter, and here is Blissed. You can see colors are looking pretty similar, but it's really the finish that varies between these two. And even in the pan, this almost feels a bit more dry, but dry in a smooth way, but it just doesn't feel like there's nothing about this where you're gonna be like, oh, it's buttery creamy. No, like baked products do tend to feel dry, but not in a bad way, but they are dry. I also am curious about these versus the Milani baked blushes. I'm feeling like they're gonna be similar. So I know so many people have Luminosa, which is their most popular one. I think this is gonna be the most similar to Luminosa, but I don't know that there's really anything in here that's quite as like peachy as this, and at least that looks similar to me. So I'm gonna try it against Dreamland. In the pan, they feel similar, but I think the Kosas feels a little bit more smooth to me. Okay, here's Milani. Here is Kosas. They definitely look similar on the skin, not necessarily in terms of shade, but the way they're sitting on the skin. But I think there's something just slightly more refined about the Kosas ones, where it just looks a little bit more finely milled and a little bit less sparkly. Not that I would describe the Milani as sparkly, but the Kosas is even less sparkly. Okay, also want to go against the Essence ones that you know I love so much. This is the shade Shimmering Rose, and I'm actually going to try this again against Dreamland. I don't necessarily think there's anything in the Kosas collection that I think is so similar to this in terms of shade, but like this is also kind of similar. Similar thoughts between these as what I said on the Milani. I think the Kosas one is looking a bit more smooth on the skin. You're seeing less of the like shimmer particle, but I'm most intrigued versus Hourglass. So I'm thinking these two are going to be similar. This is in the Jaguar palette, and the blush that this one that I'm pointing to is Ethereal Flush versus Blissed. Okay. Here is Ethereal Flush. Oof, these are just so smooth. Like, these actually almost do feel buttery, even though it is baked. It's much smoother than the Kosas. Like, Kosas feels really dry in comparison to the Hourglass. But again, don't let that be a turnoff. I don't mean dry in a bad way. It's just like in a smooth way. But yeah. So here's the Hourglass. Here is the Kosas. I think that they're looking kind of similar, but I think the Hourglass one, you're getting even less sheen from it. Again, a little bit more refined, a little bit smoother on the skin. None of that's like a bad thing to the Kosas, but I think they're just looking a little bit different. And then out of the Jellyfish palette, I want to compare Rose Fusion to Swoon because these are looking pretty similar also. So here is Rose Fusion and here is Swoon. With Swoon, this is another one where I feel like I can see some sparkles in it, but like the shades are actually pretty similar, where it's this like mid-tone berry shade. I mean, they're both really pretty, and I don't see the sparkle in all the Kosas shades. It's just certain ones, but this one definitely has sparkles. Obviously, I want to test these out some more, but first thoughts right now, if you like the Hourglass ones, I don't know that these are as refined as those ones. I do see some more sparkle. I don't know that they sit as smooth, but like I do really like these. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know this style of video is a little bit different for me. Let me know if it was helpful. Please let me know your thoughts, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.